Stephen,
Andrew.
do you fancy spending a quiet night inside number 9?
Absolutely.
We're going into 9 Lives Cat, Series 7, Episode 3, the halfway mark at the end of this one of this series. 9 Lives Cat was directed by Kieran J. Walsh, produced by Kim Crowther, and written by Steve Pemberton and Rhys Shearsmith. Or was it? It first aired on the 11th of May, 2022. We haven't had any conversations about what we thought of this one, so I'm really intrigued to find out. How did you get on with 9 Lives Cat?
It felt like almost like a shift back into inside number 9 of old. I don't know why. I don't know why it felt like that, because that isn't really a thing, because there isn't a thing. But I don't know. It felt like a bit of a throwback episode.
Yeah.
What about you?
I felt that, and I loved it. I thought it was one of those where I'm like, I can't wait to rewatch this. And it actually, I think these are my favourite sorts of episodes, actually, where you get to piece things back together as you watch it. It's just really clever writing. And like, I think you knew like that something was amiss all the way through, and it was kind of like waiting to find out what that was. And it didn't feel like massive twists, but it just felt like pieces of jigsaw. That
I like that it's a repeat of the same twist that gets you. There's twist. Let's pull the same one on you again, and I think we can call it a twist. I think it counts.
As Isla said on Twitter, very much an onion dive. I mean, the episode itself is an onion, so
it is. I think, like you say about piecing it together on the way back through again, and something not feeling quite right, and right from the off, the dialogue feels clunky as hell, and something felt off with that straight away, and it's great watching it back again and going, all right, okay, that's why. This is why there's a tortured detective who's been thrown off the case that she's still throwing herself into, is having Coke cereal with vodka, and he's just reeling off every single cliche in the book.
And she warned everyone on page 1 that she was a very cliche character.
Vodka and Cocoa Pops. Are you serious?
There's no milk. Do you want me to eat them dry?
You've only just got out of bed.
Oh, I'm a walking cliche. What can I tell you? Fetch me a spoon.
We've skipped a synopsis. So do you want to sort of give us a little synopsis?
This is a tough synopsis, isn't it? Because I don't know what synopsis I'm giving. Am I giving which story? And am I synopsising?
Who is the main character?
That's a very good question, and I don't really know. I guess it's Matilda.
Yeah, who we only meet very briefly at the end.
Characters of characters of characters. It's books within books, stories within stories. Yeah. I don't really know how to sum this up. I'm struggling.
You've done it. That'll do.
Thank you, that'll do.
So Kat is the first character that we meet, who we're sort of, it's set up to make you feel like, okay, this is some sort of tortured detective story. The kind of cliched trope that we've seen many, many times.
So go on then. Why did they take you off the case?
They're dinosaurs. I can't stand being told the truth by a woman. Simple as that.
The first scene is that wake up, which we see time and time again throughout the episode, which is, as we come to discover, the indication that the story is coming out of the drawer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that first scene when Ezra is introduced, in itself, that was a moment where I was thinking, hold on. So she's been in bed, she's just got up, and there's this guy just hanging around, fully suited. Not his presence isn't questioned. And I thought, when I was initially watching it, he must be a figment of her imagination.
That's exactly what I thought. I thought he was going to be someone that was helping her with the case in her head.
Mm-hmm.
Because, they were talking about the case together. As you say, it just appeared out of nowhere. Yeah, he was there to bounce ideas off.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much exactly, I mean, that is what he becomes later on. And that's the thing, is that these characters do end up being the roles you kind of expected them to be, but not in that way at all.
Yeah, it's so fascinating. Like, even as it went on, I thought, even when sort of Ezra reveals later on that he is the author, I thought even that, like, Kat is going to be the author of this character who's trying to get rid of her as the author.
Yeah.
Like, rather than the actual reveal within that.
There's lots of these things that you see in really poor writing where things that characters would never say are said out loud repeatedly just so you understand what's going on. Like, as she sits down and describes to her child in bed the going and getting the Tic Tacs, a Tic Tac box full of teeth, and gripping them so tightly until she bled. What?
Yeah, completely just sort of crowbarred into that scene where the little girl's asleep, and it's just like, so where's that come from?
From the Dan Brown school of writing, I think.
I think so. Yeah, I thought that was great. When you go back and watch again, you hear the kind of thought process going on, which makes it such a I think it's just such a clever episode, because it's the thought process of the character within the author within the story, who's coming up with the story within the story. And
also critically analyzing their own actions and behaviors.
Yeah.
And the writer almost leaning on them to tell him how they should behave. And he does this, and Ezra does the same thing with Barnabas later on, when he's telling him to come up with the idea as to what's going to happen with the carpet. Well, how he's going to escape the room or something. And he comes up with the carpet tiles idea, and it turns out that she's writing the character of a writer who does the exact same things that she does. Yeah, it's messy.
Yeah, but just genius. I think it's just brilliant. Yeah, and like the conversation about the cats, Kidney Spears and David Meowie got run over. But yeah, it's the kind of the empty details around stuff like that. Oh yeah, I had another cat, but he got run over.
Why bother?
Yeah, but you can just imagine it fleshing out this, almost sort of workshopping these ideas on paper. Yeah, it's the sort of person. She got an ex-husband. No, more than one. There's more than one ex-husband.
2 ex-husbands.
Well, who's counting? Like the author. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah, and just that's sort of represented by this kitchen as well. That's completely empty, and obviously we see quite how empty it is properly later. Yeah. But like, even on that first scene, there's nothing there.
But it's interesting that he goes for. It's weird. It's weird discussing this as though Ezra is the actual author. This is what's really strange, is that we're making these sort of points about Ezra's writing process and what he's doing with Kat when he's not. But the fact that he names the cats but doesn't name the daughter, because it's almost going for a cheap laugh on the cat puns, but there's nothing to be found with the girl's name. So why bother with that? We don't need to worry about that. We'll go for the cats, because I can get some cat puns.
Yeah, cat puns.
In fact, all of this is a cat pun.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Well, they do call you Nine Lives Cat.
Do they?
Yeah, short for Katrina.
Hear that, Kidney? I've got a nickname just like you. Kidney Spears.
Funny.
I used to have 2, but David Meowie got run over.
Yeah, you're sort of introduced then to this case. That there's the board in the dining room or the study, whatever room that. I mean, it's not even clear what sort of room that is. No. And he says he's still in the process of fleshing out the stories of the 5 suspects. And then they have that conversation about, well, surely the stepfather, which is like a little seed planted that, because he is obviously the stepfather. Surely he's our prime suspect. Which is it? who is it that has been watching? That comes into his story, doesn't it? Later on,
Yes, he's been watching a lot.
He's been watching a lot of Prime Suspect. I'd rather say he's helping us with our inquiries. Again, the nod to the cliche of if we'll do a press conference, and then if they say if the father says we just want our angel back, we know it's definitely him, or the stepfather. We know it's definitely him.
It's so bad. The whole thing is so bad, and it's great. It's great knowing why it's so bad. Yeah,
because that kind of thing is like having a bit of a dig at grieving parents, but actually, no. The whole thing is.
Who needs taking down a peg or two? Grieving parents of missing children.
Yeah. But it's like, no. And it's those cliches that even decent police dramas
still do
have. Yeah.
Because I guess if they stopped doing it, the cliche would stop being a cliche eventually. It would just sort of drop out of like that kind of dramas thing.
And I guess whatever they replace it with would become a new cliche. Yeah. So then, that's where then we get that bedroom milk teeth in the Tic Tac box
really
story.
Horrible.
Which actually was, it kind of went to a place where I wasn't expecting. Like the whole, I'd squeeze them until I bleed, just to feel something. Which again, it's like, yes.
I don't know if you've watched the animated Spider-Man film, but there's like a film noir version of Spider-Man that crops up in that, who comes out with stuff like that. Who just wants to feel something. It's like a British film noir detective thing, trying to be that whilst also being the Bill.
Yeah, it's so melodramatic.
Yeah,
like that. It reminded me a little bit of Devil of Christmas. Some of those bits, which obviously it's not being overacted in the same kind of way, but it definitely.
It's the thing though. They did such a great job in there of people acting badly, and here we've got a really great job of writing people writing badly. That's what's great, is they're able to do that. They can play people who are playing dreadful characters, but they can also write people writing terrible scripts.
Yeah. And I suppose it must be a bit of a commentary on their own, on the process of writing itself, writing for something like Inside Number 9. I'm sure they have those ideas that they're have in the bottom drawer, and you get out every so often. You're really trying your hardest to turn it into something, but sometimes they just don't become anything.
That's the thing with this sort of next one. So there's the weird noise in the wardrobe, which is kind of heading towards something. I don't really know. Did it turn out the boy was trapped in there all along? I don't really know.
No, I thought that was the drawer breaking into her consciousness in terms of as a character. Okay. It's like the sound of sounded similar to like the key in the drawer opening, and then it's like, okay, this file's about to drop back in, which reminded me of in the way that 12 Days of Christine, that sort of,
that's what I was just thinking there.
The interaction between the worlds just sort of bleeding into each other. There's a bit of that.
And then we get a very short one. So another gasp, another wake up. And this one is almost like, again, I'm going to say, I have to say Ezra, because that's who's writing at this point. Doesn't even really try that much. He gives a bit of information about the case again. We go back to the case and breaking down the case again. And then child comes and says, "Mummy," and we're back. Yeah,
it almost felt like that was, like in retrospect, Ezra or whoever is fleshing out the case, trying to just spend maybe a Saturday afternoon working out, okay, what the hell is this case that's part of this story? And then the mummy moment where it's like, oh, this is too much. I've just added another character. It's going back in the drawer. Like, I'm too overwhelmed by all of this stuff. Because it was one of those classic montages of, okay, this could go with this, and this could. And it's like that's sort of representing the writing process. And then, I've just introduced a child. No, not today. Not today.
Mummy?
So then Wake Up 3, and we meet
Reese in the bed.
Reese in the bed, yes. What were you thinking when you first watched this at this point?
I guess it was becoming more and more confusing that she seemed to be getting confused with various different layers of reality, is how it kind of felt. And I'm trying to think what this reminded me of, and actually, you're right, it's Christine. This feels a lot like 12 Days of Christine in terms of the sounds, and it's. I was trying to place it earlier, and that is it. It does feel like that because it feels like someone is in a reality that isn't there, and they've got all these characters appearing around them, and it's not quite grounded properly.
Yeah.
And when we get another version of reality where she's, I don't know, maybe it's just times past and she's just still struggling with things. And she wakes up, another gasp, and Reese is in the bed.
There he is. Yeah.
Or Barnabas.
Barnabas Ball. And we see you see pills and stuff there as well.
Here we go. We're back there again.
Yeah. It's,
she's so tortured.
Yeah, and but like when you're watching it, you're like, this. There must be some kind of nod there to what's going on in a mental state. Maybe kind of reminded me as well of is it White Bear, the
Black
Mirror episode? Yeah, I was wondering whether we were heading down that sort of route.
You might be able to tell me where I'm thinking about kids with missing faces, because that is ringing bells all over the shop, and I don't know why. I feel like I've seen something where kids are running around and you never see their faces, and they don't really have them, and I can't
just
remember
like a sort of balloon face.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
There's something.
If you're listening and you know what we're talking about there, please let us know.
Tell me what I'm thinking.
What's Steve thinking right now?
It's a new segment we're going to introduce. We're going to trial it every week.
Yeah, so Barnabas is there, and also Ezra just hanging around as usual, and she's like, trust you to be here. No, no element of like, could you please just get out of my house right now?
And this is just nailing it now that he is just unwanted figment of our imagination. Isn't it?
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Yeah, and
also we think.
And then so Kidney Spears is sort of gone missing. And have you seen Kidney Spears? And Ezra then says, no, she's gone. And a very definitive sort of that it's no longer in the story. Although it reappears, but not as Kidney Spears. As Katy
contemporary,
Katy Perry. Yeah.
An update.
Yeah. So that again, and on first watch, when I heard that, I did find it jarring.
You seen Kidney Spears?
No, she's gone.
Dirty stop out.
I think that's just giving us an idea of quite how long this is taking. This book.
Yes.
To go from that is being your new contemporary reference, and that's still a little way back, I think.
Yeah. Which is then, because obviously Barnabas has been introduced maybe conceptually rather than actually, because it's been several months since maybe the file has come out of that drawer. So,
yes. Well, yeah. So the case was a long time ago. I haven't seen you in several months, is what he says in that bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's been a while since he's tried.
So does that mean this is the first attempt at writing Barnabas's character?
I think he says later that he tried bringing him in as something, didn't he? he tried bringing it in as a character for her to work with, but then actually it became clear that he was the one that actually had legs. And he could get brilliant titles out of him.
That's the main thing. It's all about the pun.
Yeah. Cat Nine Lives, or Nine Lives Cat, sorry, is limited.
Yeah.
Any more cat things? No, not as good as Bull in a China Shop.
Bullshit in a China shop.
Red rag to a bull. Bullshit. This is a bullshit in a China shop.
Leave it there long enough.
So, I did think that it was a bit of a clumsy introduction, and again with his description of himself and who he is was another Dan Brown moment. Like, you are allowed to have something as like an inner monologue. You don't have to have someone appear and describe exactly what is happening at any point, because people don't do that.
It's like those moments of reveal, like the Scooby-Doo moments where the perpetrator reveals their grand plan and says,
"It wasn't for you pesky kids."
Yeah, you pesky kids. Yeah, and you get this again fleshing out. Okay, what's the relationship here between Barnabas and Kat? They didn't actually sleep together. Elvis did not enter the building. And like her reaction, I love her reactions to things where she's essentially been like, "No, that's terrible writing. Don't say that. Like, why don't say that?" In the same way as she then points out, "Yeah, I told you it was a cliche on page 1. Like, I've been warning you about all of this.
This whole thing is so weird."
Yeah, I love it.
Put the kettle on. I don't think it'll fit.
Yeah, and then his response to that is then, "No, I meant go and turn it on."
Yeah,
it's like you don't need to explain that. Like,
I mean, I make a similar joke every time I'm told to put my child's trousers on. They won't fit. And every time the look gets more and more withering.
I can imagine. Yeah. Yeah. But the assumption is made by Ezra that, oh no, Barnabas thinks you genuinely like meant to wear the kettle
on his head.
Is that where it was? Is that where he'd wear it? Where won't it fit? Because it will fit some places.
Put it on, not put it in.
No, but I mean, hand
it would, yeah.
Fit like a glove, like a
little shoe.
Yeah,
kettle shoe.
Yeah, it'll fit. Put a kettle on. Come on, you can put 4 kettles on. I
mean, he is quite the character, quite spectrumy.
Yeah, which again, the cliches are just like the Rain Man reference and it, like everything was just.
But with Barney asking for his loose leaf tea, it's weird that immediately Ezra goes out to help with that when it's not his house. Do you have any loose leaf tea?
Oh, yeah.
And Ezra, I'll come and help. Does he know where the loose leaf tea is kept in the house?
And what have you done with my case notes?
Do you have any loose leaf tea? They're the bags. They never steep in quite the right way.
1 second.
Then she finds his wallet, and in there is a picture of Ezra with the missing child. What's happening now?
The plot thickens.
Gasp, wake up.
Yeah. And she goes to the child's bedroom. The electricity is out. Nothing is in the fridge. Nothing's in the cupboards.
Except for a bottle of
vodka.
Pack of Cocoa Pops.
And 1 spoon.
1 spoon.
And then she checks the top cupboard. And the cat jumps out. That's where the cat is.
Britney Spears is back.
Except it's Katy Perry now.
It's Katy Perry. Is that really the best you can do?
Yeah, that was a moment where it's like, okay, we're going like totally meta here.
Yeah, this is meta now, yeah.
Are we inside number 9's? Like, is this because they're meta talking about how to write an episode of Inside Number 9?
They've really lost it now. And this is where we start to think that we've got our big reveal, but it's nowhere near far enough through the episode in terms of time for this to be it.
Yeah, we're only about halfway through the episode, or not even that, probably.
But Ezra, we didn't even know his name was Ezra up to this point, did we?
No.
but he says that it's just not working with Kat.
Tried his hardest.
It's not her house. It never was.
Yeah. What's going on?
Well, she's kind of clutching at this idea that she was inspiring this character, and she wasn't inspiring the character. She was the character. And yeah, so Ezra explains to us that he's been trying to make this character work. He's been trying to write this story. He's been asked to write. He's won a Golden Dagger.
Yep.
For his incredible work. I enjoyed the little Simon Says nod in this bit here when he's talking about people wanting dystopian fantasy.
Yes. Yeah, that was nice. There was elements definitely of whatever Steve's character was in Simon Says. I can't remember his name now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole vibe definitely there, and it makes sense now. He's just won that Golden Dagger for writing short stories. He's been asked to try his hand at writing detective stories, so this is not his forte necessarily. But he's stumbled on Barnabas as the character that's going to take over from Kat. Because 9 Lives Kat is a good title, but that's not enough to carry an entire story.
It's a really interesting idea that you can take someone that's a real person in this episode, as Kat is. She is a human being. She exists in this, and yet just dismissing her as a draft, as a sort of an afterthought. It's almost sad, and you feel sorry for something that isn't actually a person. It's a really weird feeling as you kind of watch her crumble.
Yeah,
and even the very basic sketches of a human character in his book has actually become that, and there is still a character there, no matter how cliched she is and how badly clunkily written her dialogue is. You do feel a bit sorry for her.
Yeah, I think it's
weird.
It's such a powerful image, isn't it? Of like, yeah, the fiction within the fiction. This character, you're feeling what she's feeling. Like you're feeling like, no, she's a real person that's being killed or something. And there's obviously the nod to Stephen King later on. I think he wrote "Kill Your Darlings" was one of his sort of bits of whether it's advice or the things that you have to do as a writer, as an author. And it's kind of like having the bravery to just almost kill off things like that aren't working or don't fit properly. And
there is something else here that this is making me think of, and I don't know why I can't place any of these things at the moment, but there is something else here of things just not existing anymore because someone has just decided if you are just in someone's head, you stop thinking about them, you're gone. It is Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, almost, where is sort of the memories and things are all sort of falling apart and drifting away, and they're trying to sort of run away within the mind. That's what it feels a little bit like.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I have a daughter.
And what's her name? You don't know, do you?
Shh. Her name is...
You don't know because I never bothered to give her one. She was just an afterthought. Tacked on to try and make you more interesting.
Oh, no. No! No!
It's such a fascinating concept, and like I bet it was so much fun to work with as them, like as Stephen Rees writing this, like just holding those characters, what is real, what is not real, and what's real within what's not real. And there's that moment where
sleep as well.
Yes. Yeah, I suppose any sort of dreamy things are like a bit like that, aren't they?
Where you imagine things into existence, and you get to that point where if it's that lucid that you treat it as though it's real.
Yeah.
When all it takes is a wake up for it to be gone.
Yeah. And we see this sort of really dramatic moment where she gets put in the bottom drawer.
I've got to let you go. You've run out of lives, Cat.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And for me, at this point, I was still thinking she's real. This is where I was thinking she's having some kind of massive breakdown with this thing in her head, this character, this figment of her imagination is literally trying to destroy her from the inside out. And I was just wondering, like, how is this? Obviously, that's not what happened. But like, how is this fitting together? What is going on here? Because I didn't.
And then you looked at what was left time wise and thought, there's more to come.
There's more to come.
Okay.
Yeah, and because I still felt all along that Ezra never felt real.
Yeah, it was the way he just sort of appeared in doorways and sort of drifted around.
A little like genie popping up. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Just like, oh, there he is. A bit like Barnabas, and because Barnabas is a fictional character, and then he would just appear like over the shoulder of somebody or like from the sofa. And
that's weird, is that you immediately... We take the idea that now, okay, fine, Ezra's the real person in this. Okay, that makes sense. But now Barnabas is now the Ezra character, where he's just popping up. But we're quite happy with the idea that Barnabas is a made-up character and that's why he's just popping up all over the place. Yet he's doing this exact same thing that Ezra was doing a few minutes ago. And that's what's weird. Yeah,
and I didn't think for one moment this is going to happen again and Barnabas is going to turn out to be an author.
No, no, exactly.
That was never an option in my mind.
Now listen, I was just wondering where we are with the TV rights. Are they still with, what's his name at ITV? Okay, because I was watching Jude Law in The Talented Mr. Ripley last night and I was thinking he could be really good.
Oh, Matt Damon.
Yeah. Yeah, he'd get the intensity, and he was great in That Sky Thing a couple of years ago.
Matt Damon.
They're not going to get Matt Damon, all right? He's American.
Yeah, we get our next wake up. There's no gasp this time, is there? It's just a cut.
No, it's almost like a fresh day, a new dawn. Like even the music, the tone of the music changes a little bit, and you're like, oh, okay. Sound of typing. There you see the books stacked there. Or a Golden Dagger Award. Yeah.
And he's talking about how he wants Jude Law to play a character in the TV adaptation of, I assume, Red Rag to a Bull. But Barnabas, for some reason, would prefer Matt Damon. Matt Damon. For some reason, Reese channeling his inner Team America.
Great little exchange.
I like that he's workshopping this in his head with the character. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
I love this. And just almost starting with a punchline and working backwards for the Queen taken by the night joke.
Make Colin Gay and Alan a sir or something.
So we can say, the Queen was taken by the night. Brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, you almost... Maybe Ezra is like, for Matilda, is the point in her mind that comes up with the silly little puns and the punchlines of things that she can then use to work back from.
That's the point. Do we almost have a thinking out loud situation where all of these characters represent different aspects of her as a writer and do different little jobs? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. If this isn't all what's in her latest book.
Well, we never know. There could be someone else writing a book about Matilda Gordon at this point. Well, I don't think you could take anything.
I mean, Reese and Steve made a program about it.
That
would have been the ultimate sort of meta pan out. Would have been those two,
like the end of Men in Black, where the aliens are playing with that with those big marbles that contain the universe.
Yeah.
It just cuts to Reese in his study closing his book that just says 9 Lives Cat on it.
Yeah. Put it in the drawer. Even that sort of concept, I love how it plays with that. As a viewer, your grasp of, well, something's real in this. It's like, well, nothing's real in this, but I've got to feel like there's something real. Like this character must be real.
That's what the most unsettling things do, isn't it? You can't grab hold of anything. I remember watching the episode in the last series of Twin Peaks where it was just insane and there was nothing happening and nothing was familiar. And when the fireman appeared,
mm-hmm.
and I just let out a cheer because I literally sat on my sofa, cheered because there was something I could cling to as like a reference point. Yeah. And
episode
that's
8.
the thing is episode 8, the infamous episode 8, where if you cannot get a handle on what is real and what is not, it just becomes really hard because you're just craving some sort of narrative structure that you can sort of and I guess that's the thing, is that all the way through this you convince yourself you've got it. You convince yourself, okay, that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that is true of this whole program a lot of the time. Not all of them, because they're not all crazy twisty things, and that's definitely true.
Yeah.
But when you convince yourself that you've nailed it, and then that's what they do, they deliberately try and sort of call your bluff
mm-hmm.
and go, nope, try again.
Yeah.
And that is quite unsettling.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So then we meet Ezra's wife, who's been shopping.
Phil.
Yeah. Philippa. She's been to Asda, not Waitrose.
And we know that because
she had her phone nicked.
Ah. Oh, Ezra. You snob. So what did you think at this point when Ash had been taken?
I, at this point, entered the, okay, maybe Ezra is real and this is all a story, but this has all been sort of a story he's weaving to feel better about, like to almost feel better about the crime that he's committed, which is
so you thought he had
kidnapping.
abducted Ash himself.
Yeah.
And
but I was still
okay.
I was still mindful of White Bear, and that, okay, is this cat is this still Cat's way of dealing with something she's done? Like, is she the person that's kidnapped this child and done whatever? And that little tic-tac monologue was some sort of mini reveal on her part or whatever. But no, I had. Did you have a theory at this point?
I'd wondered whether we were sort of entering a flashback to the stuff that had inspired his story,
right? Whether
this was almost like a form of therapy for him from the point of view of there had been a missing child, and he was sort of getting this out as a detective story. The missing child sort of thing. It was just him working through something in that way rather than him being the kidnapper.
So you were still holding him as an author.
Still had him as an author, but with an imaginary friend.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think at this point I was like, okay, he's not an author. He's now pretending to be an author.
Mm-hmm.
In the way that he was earlier pretending to be a detective. And he's conjuring these identities in his mind in order to deal with the fact that actually he's just a criminal.
Yeah.
Any news?
Not yet. Where is he, Ez? I can't bear it.
Shh. He's gonna be all right. He's gonna be all right, I promise.
But there is the feeling that Philippa is real at this point. And then with the "where's my son" question, it was like, okay, so he is the stepfather. That was like the callback to that earlier thing of like, are we going to see Ezra say, in the press conference, whatever the angel line was, are we gonna? Is it Chekhov's press conference? Which it wasn't. I don't think there wasn't much Chekhov stuff going on in this one, really.
No.
There were nods to things, but
No,
yeah,
you're right. There wasn't anything that was
the
there right at the
tic-tac.
beginning.
I wouldn't call the tic tac. That was just too odd anyway. That was always gonna be significant in some way.
Yeah.
So yeah, then we were into Wake Up 6, and the worm has turned, and it's Ezra now waking up with a big gasp,
And
sleeping with his glasses on.
I hadn't thought of that. Yeah,
Probably
you're right.
so that he could do that, taking them off, and that cliched shot of, I can't remember what it's either you have the cliche of taking your glasses off and rubbing your head around or whatever, or the one of like feeling about on the side on the bedside table for your glasses so you can put them on and answer the phone or something.
Yeah. It's really crucial that I see this process.
Yeah. So then he's now in Kat's position, woken up from that bed, kids' room's empty, wife's in the study. And then this was a weird interaction because like any news, like why are you gone to bed to sleep while your wife's in the study worrying about her child? And then you see he's going to be all right, I promise. That thing was almost the Our Little Angel equivalent. Like you see that, like, and then that made me think, okay, he knows that he's cut up and buried under the patio or whatever.
Especially when he slips and says he was well liked.
That's exactly the same thing as well. That cliche of like, what do you mean was? Yeah.
And then we meet Matilda Gordon, who is apparently writing herself into this story as a character as well.
Yes, as a family liaison.
That's the thing, is that when Ezra is in the cat story, he doesn't introduce himself as something. He's just there.
He's just
interacting
there,
with her, and he doesn't introduce himself as a thing. He's not a character. He doesn't sort of come in as a character. He's having almost like his inner monologue, where Kat is a character in there as well, where it seems like here Matilda has actually decided, no, I deserve to be in this story that I'm writing. I'm going to play the part of family liaison, and I'm going to give myself my actual name.
My actual name as well. Yeah, I hadn't thought that actually. Yeah,
imagine reading a book where the author introduces themselves as a character. I did like her first line is, "I thought I heard another voice."
Yes,
was nice.
Yeah. I made a note of that. Yeah. And then the whole being a big fan.
She's a big fan. Yeah. She's a big fan of him. It's weird.
Now you mention that, it feels like it had to go to another level of authorship because it kind of how does it end? It ends with her like putting it away for a bit, putting the book away.
Yes.
So I love it. I think that's amazing. So much onion. Yeah.
It's like there's the lady who writes the stuff that the TV program Bones is based on, Kathy Reichs, writes about herself as a forensic anthropologist, which she was, who also writes books about a person that solves forensic anthropology cases. And it feels like a little bit of that here.
Yeah.
Where you've got this person interacting with a writer who's the big fan of the writer. It's all a bit, weird. She's inside the story. Why? Which, I don't think she's very good.
If you know, if you're a fan of Matilda Gordon, you would know, okay, the author has just appeared in the book.
Yes.
If you don't know, if you're watching an episode of Inside Number 9 where you've never met anyone called Matilda Gordon before, you don't know that she's the author. So it adds to the story. But I wonder, if you were sort of reading the Da Vinci Code and there's suddenly a character called, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all. But
I'm a big fan, Robert Langdon, of your work in this field of decoding weird scriptures. I get the impression that she knows she's struggling with this story, and we find out at the end that she's struggling with certain bits of this. But I think she also feels like she's an absolute genius because she's got all of this stuff going on where she's got stories within stories and an author within the story who's also writing his own story, who's got this critical relationship with the character that when actually all she's doing is writing another version of herself within a story and also putting herself in the story as well as a character. She is the hack, really, I think, in this.
Yes. Yeah, that's such a good point. That's really funny.
So then there's the conversation about whether or not they can think of anyone who's got a grudge, who might be bearing a grudge because he's written about them, or whether he invents characters.
Yes.
He doesn't base them on people, he invents them.
Yeah. So then we're reminded of Kat at that point again.
And then she just shows her incredible writing skills by now bringing up the Tic Tac box that she's found. Yeah,
which is just a really... when you think about, okay, as the author, she's gone and rifled through the medicine cabinet just to see if you're on any medication for any random reason.
Because that's what a family liaison officer would do in this situation.
Yeah.
Quick, check the meds. Is there any reason I should be worried? Yes.
Don't ask.
There is. Yeah, don't ask.
Or review any notes or anything. But just go and find this Tic Tac box. So, yeah, I suppose it's almost a meta Chekhov nod to, like, you've clumsily hacked your way to Chekhov's Tic Tacs teeth. Tic Tac teeth.
Tic Tac teeth. What a grim version of that game that would be.
Yeah, and they haven't been stumbled upon by any of the characters that you've written. You've
Just
had to
herself.
go into the story and get them yourself out of this place. And be, guys, look.
Look, Tic Tacs. There are teeth in a Tic Tac box. And this is then us meant to think, I guess, that it's him. He is the kidnapper, tooth remover.
Yeah.
The kidnapping dentist.
The Tooth Fairy, as is, there's a serial killer in Dexter called the Tooth Fairy.
So
that extracts people.
Also, teeth. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. What a terrible film that is. He does seem very shifty at that point, and he is referred to as being shifty later on, I think.
Yeah, he looks really worried. He looks like, okay, I've been found out.
Some good acting.
Yeah.
I went through your medicine cabinet to see if you were on any medication, and I found this hidden at the back. They're teeth. Children's teeth. Are they Ashley's? Philippa said she didn't remember keeping them.
I think maybe they belong to a colleague of mine who was helping me with the story.
I see.
Where do you get children's teeth from that inspires that within a character?
And you can imagine that or like draw it rather than actually, no, I need a Tic Tac container full of teeth just to really, like, you know.
I'm a method writer.
I can't imagine.
I need to be the character.
Yeah.
And she's desperate to read the cat manuscript,
which then he obliges and looks for, but it's gone. And then he
asks Barnabas about it. And she's very clear that Barnabas is made up. This guy isn't who are you talking to? There's no one here.
Yeah.
And then we go spooky.
Spooky time.
He wakes up, no gasp this time. Weirdly.
No gasp. Just a kind of the lonely sharing, because they're sharing the bed at that point, are they? Yeah. So it's that cliche of awake, scared man who's been found out.
And there's a faceless child running around the house.
Sound of, creaking and children's laughter and singing.
How creepy can I make this? Ezra wakes up with a jolt. He hears the sound of a child laughing spookily. I think it's also worth saying at this point that there is no gasp on the wake up here. And after the third one, I was utterly convinced we were going to have 9 gasps.
Yes,
9
I was
wake
looking for
ups.
9 gasps.
I was waiting for the 9 gasps, and they just didn't happen.
Yeah.
We get 6 and done.
Yeah.
I was assuming there were going to be 9 parts to this.
Maybe there were. There just wasn't enough time to put them all in.
Maybe.
Half an hour.
I mean, they
fit a lot in half an hour.
They have, but not a lot of character building because all the characters are deliberately really one-dimensional and shit.
Yeah, but you do feel like you kind of know them in a very strange way.
In a weird way, yeah. But I guess you do. You know everything there is to know about them. Yeah. But they're such poor characters that you do know everything there is to know about
Yeah,
them
you
in a
know
very short
literally
amount
everything.
of time.
That's true.
Yeah, that's all that was ever written. That's a weird thought. It's a weird criticism to make of something that if you don't get to know the characters, because that suggests that there is more to that character that exists that wasn't written, which definitely isn't true.
That's not
because
true.
All that exists is what was written. So you know them literally as well as you could.
And that's
No
the bottom
matter who.
drawer is full of notes that
Discarded cats.
never get made in, never make it into the final thing. Yeah, discarded cats.
That was a more horrible thought than I thought. Look at my drawer of discarded cats. It's a grizzly, yeah.
So then, yeah, we go downstairs and realise that Matilda has had the manuscript or something screwed up and
murdered
stuffed in her mouth.
Such a good. It's a good horror death scene. That is.
Yeah.
Just
And they kind of
had it forced down her throat.
Yeah, and the slate with the 9 tally on her chest. But
yeah.
I think nicely represents if this is her story of the struggle of writing whatever book it is she's trying to write.
What killed her.
It's like, yeah, everything's just been killed by this character or these characters. Like, I can't do this. Like, this story has.
I don't think that Matilda Gordon would ever reach that stage. I think Matilda Gordon is very comfortable in her own abilities.
You might be right. Yeah,
I think so.
Right.
What are you doing here?
I had to come for the final chapter. See how it all turns out.
I didn't write this.
No, this is not a fictional construct. This is actually happening in your kitchen. Exciting, isn't it? Maybe I'm not so generic after all.
Where's Ashley?
He's safe. He'll come to no harm. Unlike our friendly liaison officer, she doesn't look too clever. Oh, she was on to you, wasn't she? The shifty stepfather. So you had to silence her.
I never touched her, and you know I didn't.
Not how it looks.
Yeah, and we revisit Kat, who's just chilling out in a kitchen that is now bustling with stuff. It looks like
I mean, she seems able to just bring things into existence at this point. She's the genie now. She's like,
yeah.
You want to see me do something weird? Here you go. Here's a dead bull.
Yeah. Which again,
Something
for me,
weird.
was like, oh, she is real. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's conjuring everything. It was, and that was a Wicker Man moment with Reese falling out the cupboard.
He did that very well.
Yeah.
And then Philippa appears. Ezra is now imagining his wife in a passionate embrace with a character that he's created. You always were a lousy lay. Is this his own mind just sort of ganging up on him at this point? And all of his guilt about what he's done, is that what's happening here? And everything's sort of caving in and his own character's completely turned on him and he's telling him these things about himself and revealing his insecurities and all this kind of stuff. But he's going to finish the book.
Yeah.
Because his character's got him. His character's got him.
Held hostage, essentially.
Yeah.
Kat's sort of like dictating this, like, finish my story. I love that. And then she goes through a whole list of nice cliches.
Yeah.
Like,
This is how this
I want to find the boy seconds before he runs out of oxygen. Expose the affair between the neighbour and the stepfather. And I want to walk out of an AA meeting and throw my police badge into the river. And then I want it in paperback and hardback on the shelf, not self-published on Amazon Kindle exclusives or whatever.
Well,
which
and that's the thing.
Didn't really fit with the other.
Well,
is this Matilda?
But it doesn't. This is Matilda Gordon, I think. I think that's Matilda Gordon. Matilda Gordon seems to me. I know she's got the sort of the mock-up for her book that's been produced. And there's a real like the Lauren Ipsum
yes
stuff. Like that's pretty niche, pretty niche joke. Like, yeah, if you're into copy editing and designing book covers,
the absolute placeholder. Yeah,
but it's almost like, I don't know. Maybe she doesn't have that confidence in her own abilities. But when it then comes out to her, when it's revealed that she's saying that she's written herself into a corner, and she's tried to get the character to sort it out for him, to sort it out for her.
Yeah,
like that's
which kind of like as you were saying earlier, the idea of her using characters to develop the things that she's struggling with. It's almost like she's relying on Ezra. She's trying to make Ezra be the writer of this thing.
He couldn't do it, and so she had to resort to him inventing someone to try and help him figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, where does this end?
When she's not just a self-published author on Amazon, but has a hardback and paperback. Because the on that copy of the book, it's the Pemberton and Shearsmith Editorial Limited publishing like house as well, and then the hare in the corner, like the penguin.
Oh, was it? Is that where he was?
I don't know if that was just a drawing. That was a drawing of the hare. It wasn't the actual hare.
We haven't actually. Have you seen the hare much this series?
Yeah, I've seen.
He must be there.
I've seen it.
Where
in both,
was he in one?
On the like the shrine in
on
the island bit, and then it was in the headmaster's office in Mr. King.
Still there. Yeah,
I haven't noticed it in this one yet, but yeah, there's a drawing of it, like a symbolic hare.
Okay,
like the Penguin publishing logo. This is. I think I wondered, because I really enjoyed it the first time. I wondered if it was one that would not necessarily hold up to scrutiny as the more you watch it, but
I think it will.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it's this is definitely my favourite one of the series so far.
Absolutely.
Like it felt,
like I say, it felt like a throwback. I don't know why. I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
but it did.
And I like there's like at the end. I was going to say like Ezra's terror at the end, and he's a fictional character within the fiction. Like there's a genuine, that moment at the end of Saw where the door gets shut and the guy's just left in that room, and
that's
hopeless.
Actually a character that you know about. This one.
Yeah, but it had that same sort of feeling of like, no, he's just being left, like the darling is being killed, or left to rot. I think it's that idea, which is really interesting, that you have the wake up each time, so they don't have any sense of subjective
time
reality
or anything.
Or time between those wake ups, so it's fine. Like as soon as that drawer closes, they don't know about it. That it's okay. But I love this. I thought, even because obviously Mr. King had the horror aspect to it, but I found this more of a horror / thriller. It had more of that vibe to it than Mr. King for me.
I think this is the thing that I find most unsettling about things, is the things where people are struggling with reality. That's I think that might be one of the things that I find most scary in things, is people struggling to keep hold of reality, like Vanilla Sky, where you don't know what the real thing is. That there's horror in that, and when it all starts to fall apart, and there's stuff going on there when he's branched off in one way and he's in that relationship with Cameron Diaz, and and he cannot get a grip on what's going on. And
Mm.
there's kind of shades of that a little bit as well, where people are stuck in a situation, and it feels real, but it also feels like a fantasy, and it's like
what is this? What's this? The surface of, like, what's this representing that's underneath? Because in Vanilla Sky, it is that grim thing that's actually kind of going on, where you're watching these rather sort of beautiful and serene scenes and this perfect life playing out, and then you discover what happened after that car crash, and it's just the grimness that I totally feel that, like the inability to properly grasp what are we watching. Something's falling apart, something's not quite right.
You crave like a narrative structure that makes sense, and films that play on like that need for that are often some of the scariest.
Well, this has been fun.
It has. We'd love to hear from you guys.
It'd be great if you could share your thoughts ahead of our customary season wrap up. Do get in touch via email, aquietnightinsideKnow9@gmail.com, or on Twitter @AQNIN9. That would be fantastic.
Please do reach out and tell me where you have seen Faceless Children.
All right. Have a good week, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Two little ducks went swimming one day over the hill and far away. Mother duck said quack, 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 quack.